These are really a waste of money. Not the toys you want, don't buy them. In my many years working as an occupational therapist and having my own kids as well, I've come across tons of toys that I love. I'm a little bit of a toy addict. And then a couple of toys that I just think I really wouldn't recommend someone to buy this. So let's get into them. The first one is coloring in books. I know, they can be useful if you're at a restaurant or something like this, but generally I find this such a waste of time. Kids color maybe 1 or 2 pages and then the book is left empty and you can't throw it away because there's still pictures that they want to color but won't get around to. They're also one of those things that I feel like you get a lot from outside places like going to a restaurant that you don't really need to be buying them for yourselves as well. My alternative to coloring in books is whiteboards. These are so fun. You kind of like draw a picture on them. I'm sure you remember having one. Pull the lever across and it wipes out that picture. Kids love these. These are great for road trips because any mistake that you make can just get wiped off and you can play tic-tac-toe. You can do so many things while using this kind of a whiteboard. We also love clipboards, good old-fashioned clipboards. Our kids love clipboards. You can take them again in the car if you're going for walks, if you're doing scavenger hunts. Clipboards are a really fun way to get kids drawing and expressing themselves through creative drawing. The second one, I actually don't even know what this is called. We call it a go-go, but I've heard of people calling it like, it's not a puppet rocket. It's like a toy that you open and close, and there's a kind of rocket ball that bounces between the two people. They are amazing in theory. If you look at them, especially as a therapist, there's like some great movements that are activated. There's some great timing and waiting on your partner, but I've never come across one that didn't get played with once and then stored away because those cords of the thing get so tangled. I've spent like hours untangling 3 or 4 of those that have all got knotted together. They get tangled really easily, and because we often give them to younger children, they are a little bit more too sophisticated for younger children because you do need that timing and stuff. They're not something that I think kids also will like sustain and be playing with for hours. So the alternative to that is something like a bat and ball set, or even just a soft ball that you can throw between children. This is something that children can play with a partner. They can also play with you. It's something that they can play against a wall, and it has just a lot more breadth to the amount of play and the creative play that children can have with this kind of a ball game. The third thing that you don't need to waste your money on are fancy sandboxes. I know, you look at those ads, there's like a ship sail and the sandbox, and it looks so nice. All the ones that close and then turn into benches, they look so nice. Like, what a great thing to add to your backyard. I really would skip that. I would choose something else. The reason being that often sand gets dirty, whether it's bugs, whether it's cats. There's many things that can get our sand dirty. So a smaller box for a home setting. For a school, it's a bit different. And I think a big sandbox is like a great thing for any kind of recess area. But for a home, we often don't need such a massive amount of sand. And then the cleanup of that sand can become really, really tricky. What we did once, we had like a big drawer from underneath a bed that we just used that as a sandbox. We also have taken those little baby pools that we used to use when we went to the beach when our kids were younger to kind of put them in a safe space with some water and stuff alongside the seashore. So we had one that actually got like popped, so we couldn't really use it anymore. So we turned it into a little sandbox. It's just small, the right size for kids to sit on the outside and play around the sandbox and play with the sand, and then kind of dust it off and not be completely covered in their socks and everywhere with sand. So I would say skip the sandbox, choose something that's a little bit smaller and more contained. You also get like the actual like hard plastic kind of sandboxes that you could use. But whatever you do, make sure that you have a cover if you think that you're going to be getting any bugs or cats or anything near that sand, because once it gets dirty, you need to throw the sand out. Okay, number 4 on the list. So I got her those crybaby dolls that you fill them with water and then you squeeze them and the tears come out. It sounded so fun. They weren't too expensive. But honestly, like, there's not much that you can do with a doll like this. After the blue is finished of the eyes, there's not much that they can do with them. The arms come off and she kind of lost interest in them pretty quickly. What I would suggest getting in place of something like that is bath toys. Bath toys are a great investment, especially if, unlike the crybaby one, that because it has a hole, it also means that mold collects in the body of the baby as water is like gone in but doesn't fully come out, there is mold that collects. So it's not something that you can be keeping in the bath for a long time. But things like cups, even like play food that doesn't have any holes and isn't like squishable, can be great addition for bath time. Bath time, especially with young children, is like such a big relief for us, as they have that great stimulation time and we can have a moment to kind of breathe. Bath toys, whether it's for the bath or even for a pool, are really a worthy investment. The fifth one that I'm going to say I would opt out of is any kind of book that reads to your child. You know, you get those ones that are like thick, and as you turn the page, it like says the jingle or whatever is already there. They are often really clunky, so they're too heavy for a younger child to actually be doing by themselves. The ones that have like a button that you press and then it does a meow or something, I think are really sweet. Those are great. But the ones that like are really talking to your child, also the ones that are like little mini iPads or whatever, and they press and it tells them the ABCs, they're often, you know, like super synthetic looking. They're often pretty heavy. They have batteries. They'll be used in the time that you are not wanting them to be used. And they also don't necessarily stimulate young children, in the kind of topics and things that they are interested in. They often are like more focused towards academics. What I like in place of that is something like those books that you rub over it and it says meow, or those texture books that children can feel, or flap books are fantastic. The other thing that you could do as your children get older is audiobooks on something like a Yoto player or a Tony box. Another thing that I really like, I kind of bought it in to test out if it would be something good for our family, but they are me readers that are much more affordable than audio box or audiobook device. So basically they come with book next to it, and you can see they come with like 8 books. So you have to choose the book, and then each page has a color on it. So you just kind of like follow the order. You see green is at the top. You follow the order and then turn the page. So it's quite interactive. It also was affordable enough that it didn't feel like I needed to, you know, it wasn't like $100 that you feel like, I hope they like this thing because it was so expensive and that it gets used a lot. Whereas something like this, I think it was $19. So, you know, it gets used, they're enjoying it, especially for car rides and things like that, but it's not something that like has to be a staple in our home because of the price tag. So those were really fun. Now, those are our 5 that I would say just avoid those toys. You don't need them in your home. And I want to share with you our 5 favorite toys. These are not necessarily the only toys that you need or a balanced diet of toys. These are just the things that my kids have always loved and that they've talked about the most. So number 1 is going to be a kid's kitchen and a till. We got both of these from IKEA. The till is super fun because it's also a calculator and it's got the drawer that can come out. So these 2 things get used in our house so much. They are definitely on the list of favorites. And coming in next to that, because they're often used together, is play food or a tea set. Now, you can get all kinds of play food. You can get the ones that have Velcro that break apart. These are great for really growing with your children because they're very interactive when children are younger. And then as our kids get older, they are still using them in more pretend play. You also get micro food, like these little minis. We bought these recently, like mini donuts, mini drinks, and things like this, which is really fun for then again playing with a big kitchen and doing pretend play, but then also doing doll play because the food is little. Another one that our children have loved and just gets used so much is a baby doll stroller. These are again really affordable. It's a great thing to ask for if your child is around 18 months and to 2 years and up. People are asking for gifts. This is a great one. It's like within the gift price range normally, and it's something that your children will play with for ages, whether it's putting their dollies, themselves, or anything into that little stroller and tooting it around your house. Number 4 is a soccer ball. This is a big hit in our house always, whether it is kicking it around at home or going out to the park and playing soccer, whether it is rolling it down a slide, inviting friends into a team game. It's something that just gets so much use, so it is so worth getting. And our favorite, I've saved the best for last, our favorite toy, I have to admit, ours are a little bit scratched up and scuffed up, so they might not look as nice and impressive on the video, but they really are the crowd favorite. Kids honestly ask to come and play at our house because of this toy. It's just one of those things that kids love. So this is from Hot Wheels. There's a few different versions of this. You can see this car is in the cold water, and it is kind of bluish. It's like blue, and this is warm water. So then you put it in the warm water, and it is now completely white. So as I said, this one's been really well loved. I'll try with another one. They have them also for like the Cars toys. So you can see some of it has actually been chipped off of ours. And I will say that these are good quality. It's just that we've played with them a lot. So we'll dip him in the warm water. He stays green. Let's just look at his back. And then when we put him in the cold water, you see he turns completely purple. This is Meta. So now he's completely purple. And then we'll put him for another dive in the cold water, and then he turns green again, apart from the front. That is all chipped off. But there we go. So these are color transforming cars, and what we actually have is like a car wash that it has like a hot section and a cold section, and you pour the water in there, and then the cars change as well. We really have loved this toy. There's something about transformation or things changing that gets kids really excited. So that is our 5 worst toys and our 5 favorites. If you are interested in learning more about types of toys and play, head to the video that is on your screen now. It walks you through 9 different types of play that young children need. I'll see you over there.